Friday in Birmingham, Michael Jordan debuts for the Birmingham Barons down in Double-A. He will play for the White Sox in Chicago Thursday in the annual Windy City exhibition game against the Cubs. Michael Jordan's quest, his openly stated desire to play Major League Baseball, is our topic right after SportsCenter on Outside the Lines. The most famous athlete in the world tries to master a sport he hasn't played in 15 years after walking away from his signature sport at the top of his game.
Retirement is a state of your life that you get to choose and do whatever you choose to do. And I chose to try to play baseball just to see if I could.
The question why has many facets. Perhaps the most pertinent is the most personal. Jordan's baseball quest honors his late father.
Michael says that when he was 6 years old, his dad put him on a baseball field. And his dad was the first person to want him to be a baseball player. You know, it has to do with Michael, and it has to do with Michael's father, and it doesn't have very much to do with the rest of the world.
The rest of the world may want him soaring, but Jordan's spring has been one of joy.
He's happy, he's having a great time, his family's there. He's doing something he's always wanted to do since he was a kid.
He was a kid the last time he played baseball. Now he's 31. Does Jordan have the physical tools?
There's no doubt in my mind, if Michael had played baseball from the time he was 17 years old, that he would have been Willie Mays, that he'd have been one of the great players of all time.
How much of his basketball skills translate to baseball?
Well, all skills are highly, highly specific, so I'd say none. Now let's consider the good Major League fastball. This pitch comes from the pitcher to the batter in about 4/10 of a second, and it takes about 2/10 of a second to swing the bat.
What are you doing with your legs here, you know?
So he has to make up his mind when the ball is about halfway from the pitcher to the batter.
Your swing isn't as short as it's going to have to be.
And you want to hit it squarely, not just hit a pop fly or something. So the batter has to know where that ball is with about 1/4 of an inch. It's a tough game.
But basketball's biggest attraction transcends spring training.
We thought Bo was Elvis. We were wrong. I mean, Bo's big, Michael's Elvis.
Well, no matter what we do, people still think that it's something, you know, it's a merchandising gimmick. The fact is that we only get 1/28 of national merchandising sales anyway. We're not really involved in, at least I'm not, in the marketing of Michael Jordan.
Jordan's spring has provoked a debate, not on whether he can play, but whether he should have the chance.
If this is so good for baseball, then every team should have a celebrity spot on their roster. Tom Selleck could play for the Tigers. He certainly has a better baseball swing than Michael Jordan.
The fundamentalists are fundamental, and all they see is the purity of this game. They don't see a game, they see a temple, and he has
good advice and experimenting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting and hitting.
Swinging the bat until it becomes a reflex. Baseball players say that takes cage time, what we call practice, what scientists call neuromuscular learning.
By going through the same pattern, and your brain says, aha, that's how I fire to make these muscles move.
If you do that kind of a closed-loop system enough times, it becomes imprinted, videotaped into your brain.
It is a feel, a zone that maybe only he alone has ever known, when he could literally spin the ball and close his eyes and count on the rip of the chords.
Next, the business of being Michael Jordan in baseball.
What is so awful if a lot of Michael Jordan baseball paraphernalia is sold? Nobody is out there bludgeoning customers to come in and buy it.
When Jordan's dream spring continues.
We thought Bo was Elvis. We were wrong. I mean, Bo's big, Michael's Elvis. What Michael Jordan has added in the past couple of months is probably the highest visibility of the White Sox that we've ever enjoyed.
Which has prompted critics to suggest that Michael Jordan's move from retirement into the batter's box is a marketing ploy.
Well, no matter what we do, people still think that it's something, you know, it's a merchandising gimmick. The fact is that we only get 1/28 of national merchandising sales anyway. We're not really involved in, at least I'm not, in the marketing of Michael Jordan.
In fact, the White Sox don't really need Jordan. They are already giants in the merchandising arena. Last year alone, fans bought $450 million worth of White Sox hats, jackets, and T-shirts. 1/5 the total of all Major League Baseball. And ticket sales for the 1993 Western Division champions have not seen any notable increase since Jordan's arrival. Where Michael Jordan has made an impact on ticket sales is at the minor league level. Back in February, when he signed a minor league contract with the White Sox, phone lines were jammed for 3 days in Nashville, home of Chicago's AAA team, the Sounds.
The best we can figure is we had about $200,000 worth of sales. Now, we would have had some of those sales anyway, not near that many.
I heard the news break, and I called Mr. Smithole up here, and it was a madhouse. That's all I can tell you. He wouldn't even talk to me. He says, "Get off of the phone. You're costing yourself money."
This didn't just affect Nashville. We opened in Oklahoma City. They immediately had to put the first 3 games on sale because they were getting so many requests in case he came there.
But it was Birmingham that won the Michael Jordan lottery, and Barron officials are bracing themselves for what could be a near sellout season.
Our phone lines have been lit up like a Christmas tree.
Instead of having on a Tuesday night 1,800 people, I would think we'll have great crowds everywhere we go.
Last year, Birmingham only averaged a little more than 4,000 fans a game. If the wave of Jordan mania continues, the club expects to pack their 10,000-plus seat stadium for the entire season, which would mean an increase of 500,000 fans. But that's insignificant compared to what is at stake for Jordan and the companies he endorses. Michael helped the NBA soar to new heights in 1993 when the league grossed $1.1 billion in licensed sales. Nike, which currently pays Michael an estimated $18 million a year for the right to market his likeness, stands to gain the most. Capitalizing on his spring training cross-training, Nike sent a van down to the minor league circuit in Florida to sell first-of-a-kind Jordan baseball products.
It maintains visibility for Nike and the consumer, and Michael and the consumer, and Michael's relationship with Nike.
Nike already has hundreds of major leaguers under contract, including established stars like Ken Griffey Jr. and Kirby Puckett. But none of them is as visible or as profitable as Jordan. Nike makes about $200 million a year marketing Jordan's image, and currently the shoe giant is in negotiations with Major League Baseball, trying to secure a licensing deal that could not only be a financial home run for baseball, but open up a whole new source of revenue for Nike. And then there's Upper Deck, which is turning Jordan's new field of dreams from a fragile house of cards into gold.
Upper Deck takes you there.
This is one of 4 Jordan baseball cards that Upper Deck has released. It's a minor league card of which they produced about 15,000. It currently sells on the market for about $80 a card. Now, in comparison, the most valuable card on the market for last year's most valuable players, Barry Bonds and Frank Thomas, are worth only $35 and $60 respectively. Wilson is also profiting from its association with Jordan. Demand is up 10% for the Wilson batting glove he has taken to wearing. And Wilson has already shipped 12,000 baseballs with Jordan's autograph on them, priced at $6 each. This summer, Wilson has plans to introduce a youth glove signed by Jordan, who has never caught a fly ball in the major leagues. Which brings up the risk factor. If he fails, will Jordan's Midas touch turn leaden?
Personally and professionally, I can't think of another athlete we would rather take a risk, if you will, with.
I think that he is established now as a legend. He is about as risky as Babe Ruth or Arnold Palmer.
Jordan supporters say good field or no hit, no field or good hit, Michael's move to baseball will be a profitable one. That his struggle to succeed at baseball, his desire to just do it, makes him more human and, in the long run, more marketable.
One of the difficult things about Michael in basketball was that his level of performance was so high that he was literally incredible to the public. No one can relate to the kinds of things that they love to watch him as a spectator, but no one can relate to him. Whereas in baseball, it's like a Walter Mitty story.
Walter Mitty with a shoe contract.
The Commerce stops at the foul line. Next, can Jordan make it? Should he even have this chance?
Jordan, in many ways, was a godsend for baseball.
If this is so good for baseball, then every team should have a celebrity spot on their roster.
The baseball debate, when Outside the Lines continues. Michael Jordan is the latter-day Elvis. Baseball still the national pastime. Is this an unseemly spectacle or a celebration of Jordan's ambition and the attraction of the game? The debate can turn fierce and create strange bedfellows.
I think this whole thing is a curiosity. I think the whole thing is a hoax, really.
Jordan has shown a greater love for baseball, a greater respect for baseball than so many of the people who play it only because it's a profession.
Baseball does pretty well without Michael Jordan, and I think that it can do pretty well without him in the future.
The greatest basketball player of all time says his dream is to play baseball. Now, doesn't that say something about what baseball really is and about baseball status in America?
If this is so good for baseball, then every team should have a celebrity spot on their roster. Tom Selleck could play for the Tigers. He certainly has a better baseball swing than Michael Jordan.
The fundamentalists are fundamental, and all they see is the purity of this game. They don't see a game, they see a temple, and he has defiled the temple.
That attitude among players is expressed privately.
I was surprised walking around the camps in Florida at the vehemence and animosity that Michael Jordan's audition was getting from players and coaches.
Pirate shortstop Jay Bell refused his wife's request to get Jordan's autograph. Said Bell, he's done nothing to earn that. Teammate Andy Van Slyke said Jordan would play in the majors when there was peace in the Middle East. The Yankees' Wade Boggs took issue with a SportsCenter graphic comparing his spring slump to Jordan's. The spring trading spectacle touched some nerves.
My main concern is that I want people to understand that baseball is it's a game, but it's a job, and it's very, very hard work, and that, you know, you can't promote baseball in that way, I don't think.
He is Michael Jordan. He's not some 31-year-old guy. And he's done so much for the city of Chicago, so much for the Chicago Bulls. He's earned the right to come down here and take a shot.
I think it's wrong for him to use this celebrity to take advantage of this opportunity.
Opportunities that are very finite and precious each spring.
You go into any Major League manager's office during spring training, he's got elaborate charts on the wall telling him how many at-bats every player is getting on what field. And Michael was depriving somebody, be it Alan Battle or Mike Huff, of an at-bat this spring.
He hasn't kept anybody out of camp that otherwise would have been invited.
It is Reinsdorf's team, and he does owe Jordan a great deal. But sentiment plays no part in the virtually universal assessment. Jordan has next to no legitimate chance to make the major leagues.
I'll be honest with you, I don't expect to see Michael make it.
It's something that's going to be nearly impossible for him to do at this level.
I just think there's been too much time, and when you're 31, I think it's tough to acquire the skills to play day-to-day baseball.
There is, however, a major difference between the men who play this game for a living and the people watching it. An ESPN Chilton sports poll asked members of the general public whether Michael Jordan actually had a chance to play in the major leagues. Fully 63% of those polled said, yes, he did.
We've lodged too much of our hero worship in this guy.
They see Michael Jordan taking his try at baseball. I think they see themselves. I think they see their better selves, the better half, the better part of the American soul.
I think the public has been played for sucker.
Or do they need to believe this is a real-life Joe Hardy, leaving his easy chair, as in Damn Yankees, to chase a lifelong dream? Or maybe the Roy Hobbs of basketball, the best there ever was, an aging rookie, armed with memories of his father, sentiments that overwhelm reality for us and for Jordan.
I think what Jordan did was not so much the American dream, but what we also celebrate in America as ambition. And yes, Michael Jordan had connections. Yes, Michael Jordan broke into line. Yes, a few people lost a few at-bats that they should have had. Yes, 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 yes. But when you add it all up, what he did was not only good for Michael Jordan, but it was good for all of us who do dream.
Unless you go out there and try it, unless you go out there and prove it, prove to yourself you can't do it, you'll always wonder. And I say if you got a dream, go for it. Hey, dreams do come true.
He calls it his dream that he wants to be a Major League Baseball player. I call it a delusion.
Will this spring of dreams, chasing fastballs in the Florida sun, diminish his legacy, his legend?
That will never touch his basketball excellence, his basketball scoring records, all the things that he did in basketball, in the NBA, and the championships that he had.
If he can't play it well, then I think fans will
will start to booing. They'll start to see him differently than they used to see him, and I just think maybe it'll tarnish him a little bit in the fans' eyes.
There is some urge, I think, that this man is such a hero in the Greek sense that he can move from one sport to another and be just as titanic. And what happens is, as always happens with the Greek heroes, that's called hubris, which means that you fall. In a way, Michael Jordan is a classic sense of, is the classic example of a Greek mythological hero.
3 times, Michael Jordan stood as sports' ultimate hero, the best player on the best team of the world. Then, at the top of his game, he walked away, something that virtually no one else has ever done. Now, for very personal and compelling reasons, he's trying something even more remarkable, to master a game he's not played in 15 years and do it at its highest level. The same presence that marked his departure from basketball governs this baseball quest, a self-assurance that gives depth to this baseball dream and may also doom our dream of ever seeing him soar again.